Hey, what's up? Video Game Guru here. And as promised, I am going to be discussing the Isle of Armor DLC for Pokemon Sword. Not Shield, because I don't got that. Let us go on ahead and jump right into it. My review slash discussion slash analysis, I suppose you could say, for this DLC or expansion onto the game. With the Isle of Armor just dropping a few days ago and me having plenty of time considering the brevity of the DLC, I've had plenty of time to, I guess, divulge into it, see what it had to offer, and see if it was something that was worth the money and the time. With that being said, is it worth the money? Is it worth the time? Is it worth your efforts? Is it worth the $15? I mean, $15 for the Isle of Armor and $15 for the Crown Tundra, so $30 total. Is it worth that first half of that 15? Because you can't purchase them separately. It's a whole total package. This after game is a total package that you cannot get exclusively and decide to have this or the other. Well, to put it plainly, before I give you some detail about what I really think about it, I would have to say it's kind of a middle ground. Honestly, them releasing this DLC to me feels like it devalued the base game. Devalued the base game? Whatever could you mean? Well, by devaluing the base game, I mean that the wild area and the level of detail they bothered to put in the environment that you would be exploring for, unless you're a completionist, you're going to be done with the main story and the bulk of it, aside from capturing the new Pokemon added, probably within 3 hours, 2.5. It's really short. It is very short. Brevity is probably the best way to describe what this DLC is in terms of story content. There's a little bit of a surprise with Hop that I'm not going to mention later. He does show up after you do the main bit, but beyond that, it's kind of there and done before you know it. There's a bit of a level grind that I won't really throw out there and ruin story wise, but there is nothing to hold you back or make you feel like, wow, this is a wealth of story that's added in that really expands upon the lore of the Galar region. Nah, it's not. It's not. It's a cool little cute story with the legendary, uh, and that is it. And then even once you get the legendary, I thought that one of the two towers, since that's no surprise that you're going to have to go to, might be added challenge content for you to help level that Pokemon up. Nah. Once you make your decision for the Tower of Water or the Tower of Darkness, that other tower is locked off entirely. And, surprise, surprise, when I'm talking about things being devalued, there are no other trainers on the island aside from those two towers and the couple of encounters with your extremely, disappointingly weak rival. It's a mixed bag. Like I said some good things just then, I said some bad things. But let's go ahead and talk about something beyond story, because that definitely is a disservice. The base game was better, and that's saying something. Let's go on to Pokemon encounters. The wild area in this game it's fantastic. It is seriously what a Pokemon adventure game, turn-based RPG, it's what I would expect. The overworld is wondrously fleshed out. The biomes feel natural. The Pokemon that you encounter seem very fitting. The weather changes accordingly per section or region within that large wild area, which is just as big as, or if not slightly larger than the base game's wild area. You have things like forests, interlocking cave systems that branch out naturally. You have little hidden grottos, you have deserts, you have swamp areas, you have your green grasslands. You have a pretty big, wealth of ocean to go into, which of course has the invisible wall where the big waves start, and the way that it's structured to block you off kind of makes sense. You would not be riding a small sports bike into large vast open waters with waves larger than you and almost as big as that Welmer that they kept showing off in the trailer. Wouldn't be possible. Makes absolute sense why you couldn't go any further. The different type of natural habitats that the Pokemon have. You have Sharpedo chasing you. You have Emolgas and Pachirisus inside of the forest, hidden along with Pikachus. It's nice. It seems very organic. Per what seems to be the normal Sword and Shield, you also have fully evolved Pokemon, including Pokemon you can only get in trades, usually tucked off in little corners of the map in the new wild area here and there behind a rock and a large plateau, or only available in a certain period of time when all the high levels come out, or only available during a certain weather condition on one particular spot. And that, for some reason, to me, like it did with the base game, it felt so much more natural. Like, I understand that certain Pokemon can only be acquired via trade, item, or level up, but before, when you could only catch pre-evolutions in the prior games, something about it just didn't feel right. And I know it was a game mechanic, but the fact that I was able to find an Alakazam, a Volcarona, and a Scizor in the overworld, of course, tough finds. When I got rid of one of them accidentally by making it faint instead of capturing it, I never found the spawn again, and it was a very specific time to find it. But that makes sense. You would have a hard time finding high level Pokemon because they're not just going to be readily available waltzing around. But regardless, they should still be there. Sadly enough, I wish there was more to really dive into. But in all honesty, with this DLC, you just get a fantastic wild area and a very short-lived story. It really makes it seem like this was something that could have been in the game originally, and honestly, it feels like there was no reason for us to pay money for this. Sure, the new wild area kind of doubles the amount of wild area that you've had to play with thus far, but if you've been playing the game consistently, or if you're a completionist, you have run your course with the original wild area, save for max raid battles and special events. With that being said, there's no reason to even go back to the main game after you get this DLC. Why would you go back to capture the same Pokemon, to fight the same trainers, to do nothing that's been updated or changed or giving you a reason to really come back to the original Galar region, aside from the battle tower, which can very easily be accessed by taking a Corviknight taxi or the Elite Four to maintain your championship status, as well as give yourself some trainers that are still relatively competitive. You can fly back to them too with a Corviknight taxi. I feel like by showing us what they had the options to do with the resources they have, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. Because of the fact that I've paid the $30, since like I stated earlier, you can't just pay $15 and $15, I'm going to be playing and reviewing the Crown Tundra the moment that it releases. But with that being said, I really hope that when I play it, it just makes me that much more disappointed. Because between the $60 price tag and the extra $30 for in-game or post-game content, whatever you want to call it, that's $90 for a Pokemon game that honestly feels like it could have been capped off at the $45 mark back in the early 2000s. This doesn't really feel like it was worth all the cash. The way you breeze through the original story, how short this was, and then seeing the additions that they put in that could have very easily been implemented into the base game, I kind of feel like I got ripped off. I mean, I'm appreciative of the base game. I'm appreciative of the fact that they bothered to kind of step into the new realm of fully fleshed, paid-for content that will supposedly help make the rest of the content that's going to be coming out even more grandiose and worth the money. But at this point, and as it stands, it's kind of a slap in the face. Just a light one. Not like a full-on backhand that knocked me to the ground and left me wondering why I'm in this abusive relationship with Nintendo and Pokemon, but just kind of like a quick pop in the mouth like, hey, remember your place. And I don't know how I feel about it, because I already paid for it, so I'm waiting for the rest of it. I wish it wouldn't treat me like this, but maybe it'll be better next time. So that's where we are. Oh, and before we go ahead and sign off with this short review, analysis, discussion, kind of hodgepodge of things, because it's really hard for me to come up with a concise opinion about this. The thing that left the foulest, but at the same time almost bittersweet taste in my mouth, would be the fact that you get Pokemon to follow you in the overworld. On the Isle of Armor only. The moment you go back to the base game region, or even the wild area, they stay in their balls. They do not come out. There is nothing special about them anymore. You can still camp, but they have to go back to their place. You think that'd be a very easy retroactive update, patch, whatever to put in. But no, you're paying $30 for a convenience. And if for some reason my Pokemon have to stay inside their Pokeballs for the Crown Tundra, my final verdict upon reviewing all of this game in its entirety will probably be significantly lower. But with all that being said, Pokemon masters, breeders, challengers, people interested in just taking pictures of Pokemon, you know who you are. That is all that the Video Game Guru has to say about the Isle of Armor expansion for Pokemon Sword and Shield. What did you think? Give me your opinions. Was I wrong? Is it even worse than what I said? Is it better? Are there things that I potentially missed? Did I need to go back and actually complete everything with Hop to unlock even more content? Answer all those questions in the comments below. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a fantastic day wherever you are. Video Game Guru signing off.